Hey everyone, so here's another video we want to put together for everybody. So this is one thing that I have had a big passion in since I was in high school, is being able to sharpen knives. I have been teaching myself how to do this for years and years and years, and one thing that Tom and I want to do for everybody is we want to have videos for you guys as more of a how I don't know if we've already mentioned that in one of our other previous videos. So the idea behind this is how I would sharpen my knives, or how we would do certain things, how I would do things. We don't want to do it as how-tos, a how we and how I. The idea behind that is we are hoping that what you guys can take from this is how we do things, and we're hoping that it'll benefit you guys when you're going on your adventures or doing hunting, fishing, hiking, camping, anything that you're going to be in, any kind of adventures you're doing. We're hoping that our videos can help you guys in that process of getting there. So this is kind of this is twofold right now. So this is actually I forgot to grab this one too. So this is actually my pack axe. This is a Gerber pack axe. I am a huge fan of Gerber. I have this is also a Gerber knife. I've got a lot of Gerber knives and tools. I live by them. When it comes to my multi-tool, I prefer Leatherman, but for my pack axe, for my pocket knives, I'm a very big fan of Gerber. I would love someday to be able to do some more reviews on those, and I will. I've got a bunch of different Gerber knives. I'll do some gear review videos on those later. But for today, I wanted to do a video on how I sharpen my tools and my knives. And one thing we definitely want to recommend to everybody whenever they're going to go on any kind of adventure, whether you're going to go fishing, hiking, camping, kayaking, hunting, anything you're going to do, bring a knife with you. Bring two. I mean, people always pick on me because on average, any moment I've got 5 to 6 different knives on me, sometimes 2 or 3. I have my pocket knife with me, so it's pretty common. I'll have this with me at all times. Another friend of mine gave me this little guy. I know it seems kind of ridiculous carrying that small, but you know what? When you need a little knife to do something tiny, this one works perfect. It's got a decent edge on it. It's nice. It's very slim. You can pack it almost anywhere. No weight. This one also. Sorry, it's pouring out right now. If you guys can hear that in the background. But it's nice, decent weight. This is one that I bought years and years ago at a gun show. So, you know, it's got blade on each edge. This is my utility knife in my barn. And I apologize for the mess of my bench. A messy bench is a happy bench. How about that? But my barn's a mess. I got stuff everywhere. Alright, so this is basically all I ever really use when I sharpen my knives. I have 2 different types of knife sharpeners. You can see they're different colors on each side. This one is the first one I'm going to start out with. These are knife sharpeners from the company DMT. These are diamond dust steel knife sharpeners. I have had great luck with these for many years. I love using them. I've got 2 here. Got another one sitting over here on my bench, and I think I have another one in my basement. But I've used them for a long time. They work great. So this one right here, this is the blue side. The blue side on this one is a coarse sharpening stone or file, sorry. This is not a stone, sorry, this is a steel. The other side is red, which is fine. Now you'll see this one also has red. This is fine as well. These two are the same thing. And then the other side of this one is what they call extra fine. Off the top of my head, I do not remember what the grits are. I will look that up and put that in the description of this video so that you guys will know which one's which. But for right now, when I'm starting to sharpen a knife, I'm going to start with my blue color of my steel. I'm going to start with the coarse. The idea behind this is, and I'll give you a little description of this research I've done over the years. When you are starting with coarse, you're actually wanting to reshape your edge. A lot of times you use a knife over time, obviously it's going to do this, it's going to round out. That's what causes it to become dull. So what you want to do with your coarse sharpening stuff, basically if you think of it in purposes of like sandpaper, I have some floating around. This is 120. And then you can go up to, you know, 220 grit, and then from there you go up even higher. You can see this is 400 grit. Same idea with sharpening stones is you're going to be going from a lower grit up to a much higher grit. So then you're going to be doing more honing than actual metal removal, is sharpening. So what you want to do is you want to take your edge, which you've used your knife or your axe or whatever it may be, you've dulled it down. So what you want to do is you want to recreate that edge. And then at this point in time, what you want to do is then hone it to get it to a nice sharp edge, razor sharp edge. The thing is, there's different types of degrees. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard when you're sharpening a kitchen knife or any kind of normal knife, there's that 20-degree angle you want to hold it at. that's your normal angle you want to hold it at. A lot of times, this is the way you want to look at it. For me personally, like if you have an axe, you don't need a sharp razor edge on your axe. This little guy, I do have a very sharp edge on it because as you can see, it's very tiny. It's a one-handed little hatchet. You don't have a lot of weight behind it versus if you have a hatchet with this handle, you can see the difference obviously. You're going to have a lot more power with this one. So you wouldn't need as sharp of an edge on this one. But the long and short of it is, this is what you want. If you have an angle that's like this on a knife or an axe or any kind of a tool you're using, this edge will last a lot longer, but it's nowhere near as sharp as if you have an angle on your blade that's like this. If you have an angle on your blade that's like this is going to be a razor sharp edge. I'm sure I'm probably butchering this, but this is a very sharp edge, but it'll be worn down very quickly because it's so fine. Razor sharp edge knives, they will not hold that edge for very long. It'll be worn quickly. If you have an axe like this and you've got more of an angle like this will last for a while because it's going to do a lot more to break it down. I'm hoping that makes sense for you guys to understand. So, let me save your glasses on. Anyway, so basically if I'm going to start with this, I'm going to have 2 paper towels with me. I'll have one paper towel that's dry. I'll have one that's pretty damp. So what the reasoning is, I always clean off my steel. It's actually pretty clean, which is good. A lot of times you can start to see a little bit of gray in there. That's just leftover residue. So you want to just keep your steels clean. And then if you can, just kind of give your knife edge a little wipe down. Just being careful not to cut yourself. Just kind of give it a little bit of a wipe down if you have any junk on there. But the water helps to kind of lubricate the steel a little bit. All these little tiny circles, if you're wondering what those are actually designed on these so that when you are sharpening your blade across it, all the little metal particles that will be pulled off of the blade will actually fall into those, and you're using just the diamond steel to be able to sharpen your blade, which is why you'll see me as I'm sharpening, I'll constantly be wiping this off. I'll take some passes, then I'll wipe it off again. I was watching this video myself today of a guy who was sharpening a knife. He was using stones. That's another thing you can do. Those ones I have tried. I'm not very good at those yet. I need some more practice with those ones. But one thing I noticed is that the individual was literally going just back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on one side. If you go, say I was sharpening this, and if you go one side, what you actually end up doing is you start creating this. So you're going to create this nice sharp angle here basically, but then this is going to be way down here. You're going to roll a burr over the end of your blade. And one thing I'll actually check when I'm sharpening a lot of times is I will check both sides to see if I have a burr on there. The reason why is I don't want a burr. I want to keep that edge just as pointy as I can. The other thing you'll see me doing a lot too is that a lot of times you may see people, they're going to go against the blade so that it's actually going to create a burr on the edge this way. I'm actually going to go the direction with the blade. I'm actually cutting into my sharpening stone. The reason why I do that is because then what it helps to do is it helps to roll the burrs into the knife itself, so you actually don't have as much of a burr. So instead of rolling my sharpener with the blade, say this is my blade, instead of going across against it, so I'm pulling the knife towards me this way, by doing that is that here's my knife's edge and I'm going to be rolling metal this direction. I have found in the past that for me, I get a much bigger burr and it's harder to then deburr the knife. That's what you want as a knife's edge without a burr on it basically. So me personally, I like to go into the knife, both sides. But one thing that I have learned over the years too, I had a friend of mine on the fire department I started on years ago who actually told me one pass, turn the knife over, one pass. So literally it's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio. So that's what I was saying, don't sit there and do one side, one side, one side, one side, one side. You can if you want to keep count, I guess, in a way. Then flip it over, do the same on the side, trying to do your best. But even still, you're going to have this kind of happening if you go, you know, if you're going a lot, then you have to kind of build it back up and go back over. To me, I just find it to be a pain. So all I do is I'm literally going to just go a 1-to-1 ratio. I don't put a lot of pressure on the knife when I'm doing it either. One thing I do like to do though with these, is a lot of times I will put this right on my bench, wherever I'm working, whether it's in my basement or out here. I will put this right on the bench at an angle, so I have plenty of room for my hand to move off the bench. You can do it this way, but then you're running into the bench. So you can do it freehand, but I find if you do it freehand, oftentimes you don't have any resistance. So I like to have this with a little bit of resistance on it. And me, I've been sharpening knives for a long time, so it's not uncommon. I will sit out here and I will go a long time. I can spend a good half an hour, 40 minutes on some knives, depending upon their condition, to be able to sharpen them up to get them to the point where they're mostly razor sharp. Not all knives are going to be razor sharp. It's a good goal to shoot for. Not all of them are ever going to get there. So just do the best you can. Like I said, I will put in the description these sharpeners. Yeah, you can see. I don't know if you can see it or not. See all that little bit of sharpening all I did, and already you got that much debris on there. But I will put descriptions I'll put information in the descriptions for each one of these blades and the grits, not blades, sorry, the steels and the grit levels, and I'll also put a description for their websites. You can go and look them up yourselves. Highly recommend them. Great company. If you can hear that or not, there's some thunder in the background. They said there was some storms coming in today. So, rather than bore you guys with doing this, because this can take a long time, I am going to sharpen this knife up for the rest of it. I am going to do this in a time-lapse. I'll have some more information again, but for now I'm going to just finish this up in a time-lapse. So it'll take a while to do this. I take time doing this. Alright, so this is the portion of the video that I wanted to show you guys where what I'm going to be doing now is getting a close-up of me actually sharpening my knife blade. This is the Diafold from DMT. This is the red side, which is the fine side. This is the green side, which is the extra fine side. And like I said, in the description, I'm going to have the list of the grits levels, which in this case they call it by mesh. I'll have that listed in the description for you guys, along with a link to their website so you can look up more information about them if you want to. I highly recommend these. I've had these for years and years and years. I have sharpened so many knives with these, it's not funny. They're bulletproof. These things last forever. I think I've had this one for probably 6 or 7 years. I've had this one for 10 years, and they're still going strong for me. So anyway, so this is the blue side. This is your coarse. And then you have your red side, which is your fine, your green side, which is your extra fine. Now this one does come with coarse and fine. This one comes with fine and extra fine. Anyway, I use them all. So, what I'm going to do here at this point in time, I got my knife here, and as I was explaining earlier too, these are all the little holes that the material from the knife when you're sharpening will actually kind of fall into, so that way when you're sharpening, you can kind of wipe it off out of the way. Get a little bit of the gray material, from your blade off of there. Keep it nice, and you don't need oil for these steels. You just need water if you want to, or you can sharpen with them dry too. I've used both ways. It works well either way. If you're going to do it dry, I'd recommend definitely having a paper towel there. You can constantly keep wiping it off. If you have it with a little bit of water, all I ever do is just make the towel damp. Just kind of give it a quick wipe down. Helps with your sharpening. So basically, and again, depending upon your angle, determines how sharp you want your blade. The less steep your angle, in this case it would look like this. So this is your perpendicular 90 degrees. So if you're sharpening your blade more along this, you're not going to have a super sharp edge. But what you will have is a blade edge that will last a lot longer. If you have a blade edge where you're leaning it down to this level, you're going to have a much sharper edge, but it will not last as long. So this is basically all I do. I just one side to the other. Go down along, following the contour of the blade best I can. Back and forth. And like I was saying too, I don't remember if I did or not, I don't put a lot of pressure into this. I really will let the knife kind of just glide along, and I feel the knife's edge while I'm doing this. I feel for any kind of a burr or any kind of resistance along the steel to see where I may need to work a burr out of the blade and sharpen it a little bit more. Because ultimately, the less of a burr, we're talking microscopic levels, but the less of a burr you have, the sharper your blade's going to be, and that's what you ultimately want. So this is it. I just basically go back and forth. One side, flip it over, one side, flip it over. Now the coarse steel will remove more material from the knife than obviously the fine or the extra fine will.
The course is going to be, it's like sandpaper, like I was saying in the first part of this video. Sandpaper, when you're using 80 grit or 120 grit, you're going to remove a lot more wood from a woodworking project than you would if you were using 220 or 400. So the same idea with these, and I believe, I forget what the mesh levels were. They consider it mesh levels when it comes to these diamond steel sharpeners. So I will post that in the description of this video so you guys can look that information up, along with a link to DMT's website so you can check those out as well. And I do absolutely recommend these sharpeners. They're nice to use, they're quick to use, they're portable, which is great. I bring these with me anytime I'm going camping, or if I'm going to be going hiking or something like that. I'm at base camp. I mean, I bring them to my parents' house all the time, and I sharpen up my mom's knives for her. One of the knives that Tom had, that I believe was from his grandfather, needed a lot of work to it, and I used these on that as well. And I've sharpened a lot of knives for a lot of people over the years, and I enjoyed doing this. If it's a rainy day, or if I get done hunting or something like that, I've used one of my knives, or fishing or hiking, and they're a little dull. I mean, I use this for all my pocket knives, scissors, any kind of garden tools. Actually, the loppers and my wife's pruners, she uses for pruning her flowers. I can use these on those pruners as well, and I can get a very, very nice edge. Very nice edge, very nice edge on these. Right now, you'll see me actually going on the same side more than once. What I'm doing is I'm feeling a burr up on this portion of the knife right here, and I'm, like you see, I'm going against it. So I'm gonna feel the edge of the blade. I'm gonna go against it to see if I can feel any kind of a burr. I feel some resistance on the steel, but I don't feel any kind of an obvious burr on the blade itself. Just be very, very, very careful when you're doing this. When you get knives that are this sharp, it takes one little slip and you're bleeding. So just always be very, very, very careful when you're doing this knife sharpening. That's why I don't use a lot of pressure when I'm doing my knife sharpening. You know, if you start putting in a lot of pressure, and you can see I am moving towards my own hand, and I don't have any kind of guards. But, I mean, if I push a lot of pressure and I slip and come off this way, I will go right through my skin without even trying. So, light pressure is all you need. Just kind of let it glide through. Let the steel do the work, and you'll be in good shape. Kind of hear that sharpening along. A little bit of a burr. There we go. Now it's not there anymore. Perfect. What I might have been feeling actually was some debris on that side of the steel. It could have been some leftovers that was rolling, causing it to feel a little gritty. That's why I wipe it off as often as I can. Just gets rid of the grit, gets rid of the leftover steel from the blade. That's it. That's all I do. Back and forth. Now I know my angles aren't going to be holding perfect. I'm doing this freehand. They do have kits where you can have the blade be held at the exact correct angle for every pass. For people who are new at this or want something a little easier to do, I recommend them. I think they'll be a great tool to have. Me personally, I don't use them. I've just been practicing this and doing this for so long. I know that, you know, sometimes my pass may be a little steeper. You know, it could vary. I just know over the years that I feel confident in where I'm holding for the most part. But if you're new and you want to get one of those devices that it holds your blade at a specific angle, and then you can use that device to go across, it'll hold the steel, hold your knife, and then you can use it against it. Try them out, and you know, give them a shot. I have nothing against those ones. So there, I think I'm basically done. This knife's got a very, very nice edge on it at this point, so I'm gonna put this up, and you can see this is my paper trial. So here's my paper trial here. There's a couple ways I like to test this. One way, obviously, is the basic paper test. It's gonna, can I cut a chunk off the paper? Sure. You know, I can dive right down through it. And you can, there's no rips. That's a clean cut. But then I also like to test. That's for the bottom part of the blade. So you can shave a lot of the knife off using the bottom part of the blade. What I like to do is test the tip of the blade as well. So I actually put the knife right here against the paper. You know, oops, that didn't work. You know, if I can do that by pressing the knife tip against the paper, making a quick motion. I mean, even here where I started going a little bit deeper, yeah, it started tearing, but it still cut right through that. To me, that's pretty sharp. I'm happy with that. That'll work. But keep in mind, when your knife is that sharp, it'll do the same thing to your skin. So be very careful when you're handling sharp knives like this. But other than that, I wish you guys all the best. I pray that that you guys will be able to utilize this video, and good luck in your knife sharpening adventures.